Hi there, welcome to the Stellar Wyckoff Technical Analysis session. And last week we already asked the question, is the party over for Stellar for the Bulls, but for the Bears they have started partying. So what has happened over the week and where it's going? Here in the weekly chart, last week or probably even the week before, we put in these question marks, and indeed it has happened the way that I said, 70% that we're going to see a sign of weakness. At this current level, I would say we already have reached that point, because look at what happened in February this year. That's where around the green line is, and that I would consider a sign of weakness. To make a correction, instead of LPSY, I would say this is a second test or just a test. That's how I'm going to name it. So, would a new second test happen? Maybe, but not easy, because of the tide seems to be retreating, I would say. It seems like the capital is being moved around in different altcoins, pumping one and then dumping another. So it's getting to the stormy period now, I would say. So while we can still keep the chance, I'll lower it to 25%, and then there may be another LPSY, even though it's not like second test. Maybe it's around or below this 0.41 key level. So this would be, let me adjust a little actually, this one would be 35%, this is 15%. And then, where's the 50? That's, well, depending on whether we have an LPSY over there. If we have, then this would be another SOW, sign of weakness, at around 50% chance. Obviously, if we don't have the LPSY, then that 50% will come down for lower LPSY, so not lower LPSY, lower SOW. So I will just put one tag over here. Whether it's going to end up at the 0.33 green key level, or is it going to end up between the 0.2 or 0.25 like orange and green key levels, it all depends on whether we have this rebound. If it doesn't, it's likely going to go all the way to this level. If it has, then maybe it's got another rebound at the green before it comes down to test this orange and yellow key level. So that's how it would happen when it comes to the downside. To the upside, that's one option, shooting above the 0.41 and then trying to get as close as possible to the blue key level of 0.475. In terms of daily, here, last week we put in these percentages, or maybe even the week before, and it happened already. So not this, I'm not trying to show this one, but instead it's this one. So you see the little peak over here. So that has already happened basically, but I would copy one out, just keep this tag that's been confirmed, change it back to here, because if it continues with this trend, this downward channel, let's put it this way, I think we can skip the center line for now, because you can clearly see the price is bouncing toward like between the two edges of the channel. And if it continues to happen, what's coming is here. So it has already come down. Remember this descending triangle, right? I mentioned it, the breakout to the downside would happen before it gets to the tip, and like a lot of times it happens right in the middle between the two edges, where the edges crosses that level that we're referencing. That means the yellow dashed line. So that day, 29th of August, last Friday, that's what happened. And then now that yellow dashed line has become the resistance line for the past 6 days, including today. And then if it continues with the downtrend, another triangle is coming. This over here, meaning by September 12th, actually as early as tomorrow, September 5th, that would happen already. So we have only 1 week time for the price, for the big guys to tell us, is this downtrend going to continue? So the price will continue downwards. If the bulls successfully defend the green like support line, then it would break this downward channel. But don't be overly excited if you are the bulls, because that is exactly what happened back here, just the beginning of August. So what happened here is it broke outside of this bull flag in terms of candlestick pattern analysis terminology, rose a little but got rejected from this resistance line defined by the automatic reaction back in the buying climax in mid-July, and then eventually it came down, and that's where the trend started, a new descending trend. So this bull flag ended up, yeah, a little bit higher, but not as high as the buying climax. And then now we have another bull flag. If it really successfully breaks above, let's see whether it would develop a new downtrend in candlestick pattern analysis terminology, is another bull flag. So it's interesting how the terms are named, right? So even though it's a downtrend, we call that a bull flag and expect it to go up again, just that it's only a little rebound. So that's the picture we can tell from the daily chart. Bollinger Band Contour squeeze, not a clear squeeze at the moment, so there may be some smaller price moves in the near future. I mean, by that it's next few days basically. But then when it gets closer, like I said, to the end of next week, the breakout will happen. So if you don't want the price to go down that smoothly and hope for some horizontal trading, finger crossed, that could happen. That's why I put an LPSY tag over here. But remember, it's probably going to be somewhere lower than the yellow dashed line, looking at like how the resistance is happening right there. Unless when it breaks outside of this bull flag, it took the chance to break above the yellow dashed line. Otherwise, if it trades like this, and when it rebound, the LPSY probably will end up at where the yellow dashed line is. So I'm going to keep this right here at this yellow dashed line level, because it's likely going to happen in that way. And then eventually, this, even though I marked 70%, it's going to happen after the LPSY, so it would come down to this level, and that's where the accumulation, we can say, has officially started. This, I'll still keep it over here, but it's way down the line if it's going to happen, unless Stellar is going to have similar news as Chronos, which nobody knows. So to recap, it's definitely going under a downtrend. Hopefully it's not coming down too steep. And I already mentioned the triangles over here are showing us that by end of next week, we probably will see something very big as soon as this weekend actually. So